Hey there, I'm Nicole Bowdle, Park City local and luxury real estate expert. I'm your go to insider for all things Park City, Deer Valley, and the Jordanelle. If you're thinking about buying or selling in this market, this video is going to walk you through exactly how we work together from the first call to the closing table. I always like to begin, whether you are on the buy side or the sell side, with the fact that there are three agreements that govern a real estate transaction. This is an exclusive right to sell listing agreement. This is the agreement that we sign when you are the seller and I am your agent representing you. This agreement is signed between the seller and their listing agent. This would be signed between you as the seller and me as your agent if you were to hire me as your agent. The next agreement is called an exclusive buyer broker agreement. This agreement is signed between a buyer and their buyer's agent. If I was representing you on the buy side, this is the agreement that you would fill out with me to represent you as a buyer before we go look at homes. This is the third agreement that governs a real estate transaction. This is called the real estate purchase contract. Now, this is a Utah real estate purchase contract agreement. This is for a resale. This agreement is between a seller and a buyer. So if you are selling your property, this is the prize. This is what you want. You want a lot of these because the more of these that you have, the more offers that you have. This is the actual offer between you and a buyer or between a buyer and a seller. If you are buying a property, this is what I help you fill out. This is what I help you craft. We come up with terms. There are 23 blanks in this purchase contract that we have to fill out. We have to make sure there's no mistakes. We have to make sure everything is very, very accurate. Now, if you hire me and you are a seller, we go through this. We highlight it. We go line by line. We look for things to make sure that it is super ironclad and it's a very clean offer. And if it's not clean, maybe it needs some housekeeping. Maybe we need to counter back some terms. Then I would actually help you craft a counter offer. Now, there is a land agreement. So if you are selling land or if you're buying land, there would be a land contract. Or if you're buying new construction, there is a Utah new construction contract. Or if you are buying directly from a builder or a developer, they are actually going to have their own contract. So it is not going to be the state approved real estate purchase contract. It would be their very own builder contract or developer contract. Now, like I've said before on this channel many, many times, I've pretty much seen every single builder and developer contract there is in Park City because I've pretty much represented every single buyer on one of the developments in and around Park City, the Jordanelle, and Deer Valley. I know the processes. I know what they require. There are three agreements that govern a real estate transaction: the listing agreement between the listing agent and the seller, a buyer's broker agreement between the buyer's agent and the buyer purchasing the property, the real estate purchase contract. This is between the buyer and the seller. Three documents that govern a real estate purchase contract. Now, if you are buying a house with me and I am representing you as your agent, you are probably going to get something that looks like this. And this is a whole entire packet. There is a neighborhood guide. There is the buyer guide. It breaks down buyer agent compensation, how it's explained. We have our whole contract in here. There's also the buyer due diligence checklist, because when you are buying a property, there are actually three documents that are legally required for you as a buyer to buy property in the state of Utah. That is the buyer broker agreement. That is the buyer due diligence checklist. That is the wire fraud disclosure. And because I am with Berkshire Hathaway, and we have in-house mortgage and title, we also have an affiliated business disclosure that you are required to sign. Then I've also got addendums in here because I want to show you, hey buyer, I know you're worried about this compensation thing, and I want you to know that we actually ask for compensation in the real estate purchase contract. And this is actually the form that we use in addition to writing it into the REPC to let the seller know that you have entered into an agreement with me and we have decided that my compensation will be X amount, and we're going to ask the seller to cover that. Now, When we are buying something like a build from a builder or a developer, that compensation will also be written into the real estate purchase contract. So again, everything is very transparent and you know exactly what you're going to be paying and what you're not going to be paying for. And if you're out of state, a lot of times, and I don't meet with you in person, all of this stuff is actually sent to you electronically through Dotloop, which is basically my version of DocuSign. So I use a program called Dotloop. Everything is sent to you via e-signature. This consultation takes about an hour for me to explain all the paperwork to you, and then I sign it and we're good to go. And I can go ahead and represent you as your buyer's agent, get to work finding you that perfect property because I know at the end of the day, the only thing you care about is finding the right property. That is what you care about most. What I care about most is finding you that right property, but there is a process that needs to happen in order for me to be able to help you. And there's also kind of an understanding in how I work. And I do go over all of these things: the offer, how to craft the offer, who needs to sign the buyer broker. Are you buying it as a solo buyer? Are you buying it with a spouse? Are you buying it in a trust? Are you buying it in an LLC? If you're buying in a trust or an LLC, then I need to have those LLC documents and those trust documents because the title company is actually going to ask for that when you close, because we need to make sure that the LLC is written correctly and that the trust name is written correctly on all of the documents. If it is not written correctly, then it is just more of a headache and more paperwork for us to sign down the line. Everything that you sign as a buyer, from buyer agent to purchase contract, needs to be the same name. How you're buying it needs to be the same. Now, if you are hiring me to sell your house, you're probably going to get a big giant binder like this. Why? Because I am prepared as all can be. All right. I want you to feel prepared. I want you to feel like this girl knows what she's doing. She has experience. Wow. Not only is she incredible at video marketing and marketing in general, but she knows the process inside and out. She knows the forms inside and out. She knows the contracts inside and out. When I'm listing your house, you're going to get something like this. However, if you don't sign an exclusive right to sell, you don't get to keep this. I take this back because this costs me a lot of money to make every time I give it to a seller. And I just don't want it to end up as firewood. As long as we have a written agreement signed and you've hired me, I give you the staging guide. I give you this listing presentation guide. This kind of goes over the power of the Berkshire Hathaway brand and the global marketing that they have and the international marketing exposure that they have and the partnerships that they have. One of the really cool partnerships that we have is with Mansion Global. So when you have a luxury home, that property gets listed on Mansion Global. It talks about all the syndication. There's a lot of stuff in here, but I don't actually go over this with you. This is just more for you to look through on your own. Then I also like to show you, hey, look, twice a year, my company puts out a Wasatch Back real estate portfolio. We put one out for the winter and one out for the summer. And if you list at the right time, your property could land in this catalog. And it's syndicated all over town. It's also syndicated online. And then it goes into frequently asked questions by home sellers. And I know for a fact no other agents do this because when I brought this whole booklet to one of the sellers that I recently happened to sell their property, he was blown away. He said, I have never been given a binder like this with somebody so organized and so on top of it and has answers to all my questions, right? What is the true market value of my home? What will I net with the sale of my home? How long will it take for my home to sell? How will my property be marketed? Will there be an open house? What should be done to prepare for showings? I mean, every question that you have, I've got an answer to. When will the property be officially listed on the MLS? All the questions to everything you want right here. And guess what? Most of them can be found in the real estate purchase contract and the exclusive right to sell. Most answers to all your questions. Then I actually show up with a listing agreement because I want you to be able to read it. I want you to be able to go over it, know what you're signing, what you're getting into. Also, again, when you're listing, you've got an affiliated business arrangement disclosure and wire fraud disclosure, because those are things that need to be signed when you're actually selling a house. I also like you to sign a limited agency agreement. You don't have to agree to that if you don't want to. And then also a multiple offer disclosure because it tells me how you want me to handle a situation when you get multiple offers. Because believe it or not, you're the seller and you have control. And so you need to dictate how you want me to handle a multiple offer situation. In this disclosure, it explains what your three options are and how you are going to instruct me to handle that for you. Then you've got the seller property condition disclosure. This is probably one of the most important documents you're ever going to sign as a seller. So you always want to take your time with this one. And then I also like to bring over, hey, look, this is what a buyer signs. This is the buyer compensation. This is the buyer guide. I've got the buyer guide in there so that you as a seller know how much work buyers are. This is just past marketing materials, right? This is like a brochure. This is a little 4-page brochure, really nice thick paper. This is a flyer. I always do a feature list, flyer, brochure, another feature list. So this gives you an example of some of the marketing that I do for your property when you actually hire me. If you hire me as a listing agent, you're going to probably get something like that from me if you hire me on the sell side. So whether you're buying or selling, I bring experience, negotiation savvy, and a marketing engine that moves properties and protects your bottom line. So if you're thinking of making a move in Park City, Deer Valley, or the Jordanelle area, or anywhere in the Wasatch Back, head to the link in the description below and book a consultation. I do have a form that I like you to fill out because it gives me a good discovery of things before we chat on the phone, chat on Zoom, or chat in person. So let's talk about your goals and let's see if you're a good fit. This is luxury real estate, but with a local edge. I'm here to guide you every step of the way. So thanks for watching and don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more Insider Park City content.